It's the UPX Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, ThankMeLater, and you're stupid to win. Might be coming obsession as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your UPX, man. On your way in the door, hit you with $4,000. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping. Over to moving and shucking. I'm Scrooge McDuckin in UPX.
Welcome, fellow Uplanders, to episode 145 of the Upland Property Experts Podcast. I am your host, Too Stupid to Win, and as always, I'm joined by ThankMeLater. How are we doing this evening, brother?
I am doing fantastic.
Doing fantastic. That's good to hear. We have a decent episode. You know, I'm not going out on a limb tonight. I'll call it a decent episode ahead.
Do
of
whatever,
everything.
man. I'm freaking stoked about this episode. Home addresses. Come on, bro.
We get to talk about the home addresses, the city expansion in Rio, which wasn't so hot.
Rio, baby.
Yeah.
Still rocking that Rio.
And then the secondary market update. So a lot to jump into.
Should be a show that fills the void of at least 60 minutes.
Of your Thursday night or whenever you watch us. All right. Let's jump right into it. Got our market update. It's top 10 city floors. I call it a pretty stable week. Las Vegas dropped 4 spots. New Orleans, Kansas City, Staten Island made some moves up. But all in all, nothing too bad. You have a heavy discount once again in Santa Clara. I don't know what happened there on the U.S. dollar side, but definitely a discount there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, I mean, we'd have to go in and see if it was just like an anomaly, like when you happen to pull it, or.
And there were actually a couple at that price, so it wasn't just a one and done. And it would shoot up. You know, $19.50 was a low, but you had stuff right there around $20. You had a handful of properties right there in the $20 vicinity. So, I mean, that's almost about a 47% discount from US dollar to UPX floor price if you want to get into Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And then if we zoom out just a little bit, you have the 30-day difference. Still not looking pretty.
No, but seems pretty I mean, again, you have some fluctuations, but I mean, across the board, you average it out. It's about the same.
Yeah. Nothing really surprising here. The newness of Las Vegas wore off. Rio De Janeiro dropped out completely. And that's the interesting thing. Rio went from, being in the top 10 to dropping to the bottom 5 cities. We talked about that last week, that we would expect as there's still more properties to release and the markup wasn't going to stay as high as more Rio properties hit the market.
Yeah, but is that really fair? I mean, they released a dedicated starter city, right?
Well, and then yesterday they released about another 20,000 properties.
Yeah. I mean, the two things combined for sure, but like, come on.
Yeah. And even Las Vegas is starting to lose its glitz at the moment. I do like seeing San Francisco starting to make a rebound.
I mean, I think people are starting to realize, and honestly, I not financial advice, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I think with, and I'm going to beat layer 2 is going to drive, I think, that San Francisco market up, because there are a lot of competitive groups that have started their home base in San Francisco. And I just see that as being really one of the most competitive cities. And so I think because it's so competitive, I think it'll start to edge out Manhattan as far as interest. And once people start to realize like, oh, a lot of the big neighborhoods that are kind of doing cool stuff are in San Francisco. They're getting the decor first. We want to be a part of it. We want to make sure, the first racetracks are in San Francisco. It's just one of those things you want to be a part of that first stuff. And the neighborhoods there, I think, are going to do fantastic stuff. I think we're both repping the Alamo Square.
Absolutely.
Got that badge, get that Alamo Square, which I think is super cool, right? I mean, we already have a lot of representation. And that's not to say that there aren't some other amazing cities with communities out there. But as far as a tier one, communities, in my opinion, it goes San Francisco, Chicago, Manhattan. Actually goes San Francisco, LA, Chicago, Manhattan. Sorry, LA. I forgot. LA is tier one.
Yeah.
But I think LA's got a really strong community set too.
Oh yeah.
And then I think other than that, I mean, you got Queens. I know has some really strong groups in Queens.
And Detroit, we learned last week, the more and more we look at it, Detroit has some very strong groups, even though they're a bottom 5 floor city, tier 3 city. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It will be interesting so we saw today, we got home addresses, right? Like, this is a put up or shut up moment. Like, if you were playing multiple teams, if you're saying, oh yeah, I'm a Portage Park fan. Oh no, Woodward, you're my dude. Like,
yeah, well, it's time to show it. Shut up.
Yeah. Like, here you go. Like, choose your sides. Like, this is a big deal. And the contest, right? So how many people are calling your neighborhood home, right?
Right.
And I would say that if you're a community leader, if you're leading one of these neighborhoods, you should already have a number. Like, you should have an idea of how many people you're expecting to call your neighborhood home.
Now, Portage Park is leading the way. They have 49 people already, almost double Hollywood and LA.
That does not surprise me at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Portage Park is absolutely, like, their consistency and staying power has been impressive as well. Like we've seen it in the past that, after you get a little bit of hype cycle and, these communities form, really only the strongest survive after that. Like, after those events are kind of weaned down and then the excitement's gone, it takes a really strong leadership team with conviction and belief in their project to keep it alive during the slumps. And then to have it immediately come back to life means, like, it wasn't ever really gone. Like, it's not like, and I won't pick on Alamo Square because I'm a huge fan, but like, let's be honest, like, it's going to be like us, like, poking people like, yo, Kenny.
Right.
Remember Alamo Square? Like, you got to go set your home base. And like, Choina, I know you're at 6,000 other projects now, and you probably have a religion based after you at this point because you're just kind of like this iconic character that floats around the space. But hey, don't forget, come set your home base. But the see Portage Park come out swinging. They were ready for this. And I think that those are the teams that are just going to do very, very well, both in Upland layer 1 contests and things. And then also I think that they're going to have a very strong showing with, any sort of layer 2. And layer 2 is like anything, right? Like, that's the racing. So when you're talking Upland racing, that's layer 2. Like, that's not in Upland. You're not actually racing the streets of Upland. You're racing in a separate environment that's a replication of what's in Upland, right? It's not actually like the Upland game proper. It's a layer 2.
Right.
Yeah. What up? Hey, Architect, welcome, brother. Home residence is in Lake Balboa. Dude, architect. Wait. Oh, I was gonna say, I think you do. I'm assuming it's one of the bones. Oh, damn, that's pretty legit. Did you make your home in Bones About Boa's head? Whoa, I don't know how I feel about that.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
okay. Let's talk about that once we get to that segment. We're still on the 12 weeks, so we zoomed out from a month.
Sorry.
We went out to the 12-week change. The U.S. dollar floor still drastically down, very bad. UPX is kind of all over the place there, but your top five's been your top five since for a very long time with Manhattan, Rutherford, Santa Clara, San Francisco, Bronx, and it's been pretty solid. And then your next five have always been changing back and forth. So not shocked, not surprised, and I think we're going to see a recovery from here.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I think we'll see, non-financial advice, but I think towards the end of the year, at least in our market, I can't speak for the global economy, but I'm hoping that the digital markets, and specifically the metaverses, start to pick up.
Yeah. And so here is the Upland top floor UPX markup, which is, I find pretty interesting. I'm still looking how to do the data itself, because take Fresno, for example. It dropped 61% on the floor markup for their UPX, but it raised about 10% in its UPX floor value. So it went from 6,700 UPX to 7,369 UPX. So it's about 10% gain on the floor, but the markup percentage dropped 61%. So you're getting a pretty good value from what you would have got last week.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard if it's single point data of like, because then is that like an anomaly or? But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. And again, I mean, there is like, that is kind of, we should monitor that to see if like once you get to that tipping point where all of a sudden your markups are going, your costs are going up, but your markups are going down, or vice versa. Like, what does that mean? Because like that's probably one of those key market indicators that like once these numbers flip, like now this is what you should be on the look for, because that's a buying marker or a selling marker. And I mean, there's still a lot of market analysis that I think we'll need to do, and ensure that the market is stable. But I can definitely see that being some of the more advanced analytics that get rolled out at some point. And there's some really smart numbers people in this community. So
yeah. And I'm trying to make it a nice, easy visual thing for everybody to understand, because Manhattan, the price stayed the same for the UPX floor this week, but yet you dropped from 237% to 216%. So it's getting better, if you want to jump into the Manhattan market from what it used to be.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and the other thing is, like, I wonder, is it floor markup or like, this is the thing about numbers, and like this is where I mean I like it, is like there's so many different ways you could cut this, right? And I hope as we get some different offerings from a data perspective, that we're able to start being able to easily do things like because honestly, like, well, what's the cheapest markup though? Like, okay, so that's the floor markup, right? So like that's what the markup of the cheapest property in that area. Oh wait, don't you have markups? You have the markups.
I do. I did the top 10 highest floor markups. I didn't include the bottom 10.
Well, no, I don't care about floor markups in general. I'm just saying, like, if I wanted to go into, because you said it's getting better, the floor is technically getting better as far as like a markup percent. So it's more of a buyer's market on the floor this week. But what about overall, like what's the cheapest markup in Manhattan, which I guess is what we actually saw previously? No. The markup percentages were for the floor.
The floor is 216% in Manhattan. So
yeah, but what's the cheapest? Is that the floor? Sorry, I think I'm losing myself in my own logic.
Now,
is that the cheapest markup?
I see where you're going with it. It is not the floor price of Manhattan. It's not the cheapest property in Manhattan at 216%. That's just the lowest markup in Manhattan. So it can be different.
Oh, okay. So then, well, either way, then the opposite. So then the opposite metric I would be kind of curious is, so you mentioned that the floor maybe stayed the same or went up or down, but those floor properties, what percent markup are they, right? So
Gotcha.
did the floor go up, but the markup percent go down? Because that would be still a strong market indicator that like it is being more competitive because the markup price is going down, but also the cheap floor stuff is being bought out. So like that's like, so when you look at like those market indicators of, well, what's the floor UPX, and then what's the percent markup of those floor, and then obviously the overall floor markup. So like what is the cheapest markup you can get is a different metric, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because right now the floor markup in Manhattan is 5,203% for the floor properties.
Yeah. So like that's so that's interesting. So wait, so the floor, so hold on. I think we should just talk if you got the numbers up there. So the floor properties in San Francisco are selling for 5,000%. Is that what you said?
Manhattan.
Oh, Manhattan is 5,000%.
Yep.
Okay.
So even though they have a 216% floor markup, that property is, you need 3.9 million UPX to purchase that 216% markup property.
Yeah. So, and again, so I was thinking, anyway, so that's interesting. I'd be curious what the percentage of the floor markup, right? Like, because like what you just said is like the Manhattan floor, and this is important for our viewing audience of when you're talking about buying properties, these are things to consider. Like when we talk about the cheaper isn't always better, this is a great example because the cheapest Manhattan properties have a 5,000% markup. Where my guess is if you scroll up a little bit, you can start to drop that markup quite a bit.
And if you go to San Francisco, the cheapest property in San Francisco is 1,238% markup.
Okay. So 5x.
Now, mind you, then it drops to 453 for the next cheapest property, but still.
Well, but I mean, that's not bad though. Because when you look at the floor percent markup, right? Because like, okay, so like this is a really interesting indicator, right? So what's the difference between your floor percent markup and your floors markup? Because in Manhattan, that spread is the cheapest properties are for a 5,000% markup. Right. And the cheapest markup is at 216%. In San Francisco, your floor is being marked up 400 to 1,000%, but your cheapest, so like it's much more consolidated of like that to me, like if there's a small difference between your floor markup and your markup floor, to me that is a more consistently healthy story as opposed to like ridiculous crazy markups on the floor, but then overall 2x markup,
right?
But interesting.
I love numbers. I love stuff like this, so it's fun.
Hey man, they don't call you property expert for nothing, right?
Yeah. And the bottom 5 city floors in Upland: Detroit, Queens, Chicago, Rio, and Bakersfield. Like Rio dropped like a rock on both sides of the house.
Well, I think Was this the first week you could really sell for Fiat?
No, I think last week you could have too.
Oh,
yeah, because there was numbers from last week and it's down 37%.
That's how it's down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's well, but aren't there different like tiers to selling? Like executives can sell after X days, but
yes.
So I'm curious, like, if that had anything to do with it either. Of like now it's like the rest of the community getting to that, and like they're bottoming the floor out. And so, like, if you were an executive and you knew you were going to be one of the first ones to Fiat out, you're probably not trying to be the cheapest. Well, you are being the cheapest, but you don't want to be like cut yourself off, right?
Right.
Limited competition. That's actually an interesting. I never really thought about that. I might have to do that in the next city release.
Get in there when you're selling high or able to sell first.
Yeah,
but
just get it.
I think with new mints though, I got to look it up because we get so much information over time and you have to retain it and things change. But I think when you mint something new, you can post it right away. It's when you buy on the secondary, I think that you have to wait.
You know what? I feel like
we've talked about this before too.
Yeah, you're right.
But what I do find interesting is if you're looking, more and more our floors being pushed higher and higher on the bottom 5 cities. We were sitting with a lot of cities that were, in the 5,000, 6,000 UPX range, but now we're pushing mid 6s and high 7s to be the bottom 5 cities.
That's interesting. So we're saying on average, the floor is continuing to rise. I have to imagine that that's something that Upland is also watching, right?
Oh, absolutely. They watch these things like a hawk.
Well, now it's interesting because I had I'll wait till the numbers and I'll share a little story about the floors and new players being a new player.
Yeah. And then the next one here is the markups. NFT Architect asks, what's the markup on US dollars for Rio? It's 74% right now. So it's not in the bottom 10.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Is there anybody's? So wait, do we have the floor? Do we have the opposite? Do we have like I want to know who is I would assume San Francisco, Manhattan, what are the high numbers? Right.
For the markup percentages?
Yeah.
The high numbers are, let me find that.
It's probably going to be Rutherford.
Yep. Rutherford, Fresno at 160. So Rutherford's at 400%. Fresno's at 165. Staten Island's at 144. Manhattan's at 135. San Francisco's at 135. And Brooklyn's at 102.
Whoa. See, this is why numbers like the more numbers you get, I don't know, if other people's brains, and then you start cross-referencing it. So when you get another number, then you cross-reference, but then you get 3 data points, and you're now I have to cross. And so now I'm at 5 data points. I'm like, holy cow! Wait, wow, Fiat, that's insane.
There you go, Monopoly Mike with the hookup.
Oh, but wait, that didn't. When you mint a property, there's a 3-day wait period to sell for cash if you're executive level. Yeah, but what if you're not executive? What if you're just an uplander?
Oh, that's 30 days or something.
Yeah, so my point is so executives would be your first week of Fiat. Then next week you would have so each week it'd be more and more. So I'm saying as an executive plus being able to, yeah. So obviously between executive and an uplander, you get 27 days to be on Fiat in a new city before an uplander. I'm just saying that's interesting to me.
Yeah. And these are still insane discounts. So as always, not financial advice, but if you have the ability to put US dollars in, these are the cities you would look to jump on.
Well, but that's so yes, obviously these are great cities to get at a good price. However, your Fiat pricing for some of the other tier, did you say like, what was Manhattan in San Francisco? Like in the 130s.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
like,
hold on. This is weird. So I'm home alone tonight, so it's cool, but my daughter is now calling me. So roll with it while I take this phone call.
You got it, sir. Yo, fam. What up? Somebody asked something. Hold on. Oh, Monopoly Mike was asking about change address. They didn't announce it, but I'm going to assume yes. And I'll say that as soon as you reset it, it just resets your timer. I don't think that that the system's smart enough to do it within the same city or neighborhood. But great question. I'll be sure to ask. Chief might be one day. She's just a small guy. Dude, I tell you what, though, I'd try that out. But that's kind of interesting to think. Like, then, like, if you're a chief, you got like one day to make fiat sales first. Like, if that's true, dude, I'm doing every city release. Because if I get 2 days as a chief executive to get to sell for cash before anybody else, like, yeah, I want to do that. Like, I'll go down to Rio and fight you guys so that way I can sell at 1,000% fiat day one. I'll just buy the cheapest properties I can and then flip them for fiat. And not this nonsense here. This under mint. Come on now. What is that about? See, like the floor. He was saying that the Manhattan and San Francisco for the fiat were in like the 130%. So, yeah, okay, this is nice. So you can buy Detroit at, 40% off. But, like, I would rather go buy a Manhattan for cash and get it, like, way cheap and then be able to even flip it for fiat. You should be able to make a ton of, not financial advice, but, like, I would look to probably go buy fiat floor of Manhattan, because then you could probably, I would see, this is numbers, guys. I love numbers. And so I would immediately go, okay, if we want to be property experts, like, is your margins better to buy a Detroit under mint in the hopes that one day you could sell it for mint, or just use it for, getting your foundational pay? Or is it better to fiat and buy a Manhattan property at like 130? Oh, that's true. That's true. That could be true.
That's very true right there.
Yeah. I like pictures. Architect, you do like pictures, bro. I'm definitely a guppy with everyone. Nah, man, dude, architect, no. I'm telling you, with the way that you're going on the other stuff that we're working on, bro, you'll be all right.
You're fine.
So are you okay? Everything good?
Yeah. My wife was in the shower and they just wanted to call and tell me that they missed me and they wanted to say goodnight. So that's sweet of them. They still love me. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, she was calling me on her watch. So I'm like, you never call me on your watch. So what's up?
On her watch? Who is she? Inspector Gadget?
Dude.
Call dad. Boop, 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 boop.
You don't even have to go boop, 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 boop. You just call dad and it happens nowadays. It's Inspector Gadget stuff, like things we always wanted.
Oh, you know what? That was about to take a really, remind me later that I'll tell you. I was going to say.
Thank you.
I won't. Anyway.
She's 10. Okay. Leave it be.
No. Yeah. Anyway, do you know? So interesting technology fact.
Thanks, Russell.
So they were, cell phones came out, and there's, a whole generation of older people that, like never had a cell phone. So when they gave it to them, and they gave them really simple ones with like hardly any buttons, and it was the flip phones, and they would flip open and you would go boop, boop, boop. Remember those? And they were getting a lot of complaints because the elderly people would open their phone, but they were listening for a dial tone, and they were waiting for a dial tone. And so they would get complaints. This is a 100% true story. So what they did is they literally just added a fake dial tone. So literally it just played a sound when it opened that sounded like a dial tone to indicate to them that they could start dialing. And it worked gangbusters.
Well, and then you remember they had to make the bigger buttons because they couldn't dial on the smaller buttons. So they had the flip phones that had the larger buttons on it for the elderly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. That's the equivalent of like when I see my mom's phone and all of her icons are like this. It's like one icon per screen. I'm like, geez, goggles. Why don't we just project it on the wall for you?
Yeah, today I got a text from my mom talking about somebody was trying to sign into her Amazon account. Please click here to confirm it's you. I'm like, don't click that one. And then my grandma texts me later. She's like, Amazon just texted me that I was spending $998 on a purchase and I need to click here to confirm. I'm like, don't click that either. I'm like, stop.
Oh my gosh.
I think we got off the tangent. Sold out. Look at. You've been asking, and here you go. Chicago clicked up to 99%.
Woo! Get it, Chicago! Finally, jeez, oh Pete.
There you go. Detroit clicked up. Everybody's been doing well. Los Angeles, I still think there's a lot of sleeping in Los Angeles because if you look, yeah, we'll talk about the leaderboard here in a minute. But yeah, man, you're just pounding through those drinks tonight.
I feel like I opened one and I lost it. Like I seriously was like, how many deep am I? Jeez.
Yeah. All right. So total unminted
Dr. Peppers. It's just Diet Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Unminted properties, 457,776 left, which is still a lot. I was shocked. I'm shocked that they released Rio, an expansion to Rio, but it did sell out quick. There's a lot of different issues with that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But overall, you still have plenty of properties out there. Chicago is your city closest to being going back to 100%, but you have some tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. So there's a wide variety. I think they're going to trickle in some more Rio releases, and as long as the market's down and we still have these properties that you can buy for 98, 95, 90 with the 5% markup under mint properties, it's still going to keep these numbers pretty high.
Yeah, no, I reckon. Well, and I think that's also why they were looking at maybe other financial models. Is because I think they're seeing a lot of secondary market, and maybe that's, they're going to get to a point where the primary actions are on the secondary market. I mean, it's interesting. We've always assumed that as they got bigger, that that would be the only way to scale. But I mean, is it possible that as it gets bigger, more people start to pare down the number of properties they have? I don't know. I'm questioning, why do I need 2,000 properties or however many I have now?
I was going to say, I thought you were over 3,000. I'm like,
yeah,
when did you scale down?
No, but I mean, honestly, if the market picked back up, I probably would, because I'm already thinking come on, building, it's a lot of resources. It's not just a lot of resources, a lot of effort to build and maintain, all your properties, decorate them, rent them out. You can only run so many meta ventures. You can only have one home, right?
Right.
I think new players, the old players, that's all we had, right? When you came into the game, that's all you could do is buy property.
Right.
That was it. Now it's just well, I got cars and I got businesses and I got a home, and so maybe I get 5 properties, and then maybe I just work on keep upgrading my properties. And once I get into a neighborhood, I can only have one home. So that means I'm only really involved in one community and in one node and in one from that perspective. So why do I have all these holdings elsewhere, right? Like collections and passive income aside, but at a certain point, you're like, cool, yeah, I'll sell off the rest of these properties. I'll liquidate to buy more block explorers or cars or NFLPA legits, right? So I don't know.
But the advantage is if you have the ability or you have the resources or if you've been stockpiling Spark, you can develop these areas and there's always the potential to rent that out.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, again, I saw that. I'd have stupid amounts of stupid. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. And here's the thing is I do think the wave of older Uplanders, like the first waves that came in when that's all we really had. Yeah, you're right. They'll probably keep. Why are there like 10 private messages? What are you guys chatting?
Franklin.
Oh, Franklin. Jeez. I think new players, like having 1,000 properties isn't really that exciting of a proposition anymore, in my mind. Like it would be way more impactful to have a landmark or to own a meta venture or to have a really big property next to something cool or to own a bunch of properties in your favorite node, right? Like that's way more compelling. And I think will ultimately be more fun of a game because, again, players are going to start asking themselves, why do I need 1,000 properties?
But that's the cool thing with Upland, though, is it's, some people want the 1,000 properties. Some people want to have that real estate firm that is buying the deals, flipping the properties and running their business that way. You're going to have people that want to buy the semis and have the transportation network from the factories to the showrooms. You're going to have the people that are just all about manufacturing. That's the cool thing about Upland is they're slowly piecemealing it together. Not as fast as a lot of us like it to be and not as fast as a lot of us want it to be, but there's going to be so much variety to it. It's you can't say, hey, this is a dumb idea, because for one set of group it's a great idea. You have these communities popping up and once they're able to,
I never said it was a dumb, no one said it was a dumb idea. I'm just saying I think new players, it won't be as compelling because there isn't much benefit to having 1,000 properties right now. Again, not saying that there isn't people who will, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to collect. That's their gameplay, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad gameplay either. It's definitely a valuable gameplay. It just takes a lot of effort. And I think that the average player of Upland, if I had to look 5 years down the line, I would say the average player of Upland doesn't have more than 5 properties.
That would be an interesting number to see the average number of properties for a player, just a roundabout, take them all, add them up, divide it up about the active users or the property holders themselves and see what the average number is.
Well, I mean, we have number of active users and number of properties, right?
Well, not just the number of active users. You want total number, and it's skewed because of the multi-accounting, but yeah.
Okay, but I mean, let's just say that there's 200,000. Let's say there's 300,000 wallets with properties in them. How many properties are minted in the game right now?
Right around 4 million. I mean, there's 4 million total properties, so about 3.5 million. Yeah, get your calculator, go for it.
All right. What is it? So you said 3.5 million?
Yeah, we'll just go there roughly because there's roughly about 4 million
by 300,000. What do you think? Well, I mean, I just obviously if you can do math in your head, but what do you think if you had to guess? What would be your guess as far as?
I was working on something else, so I don't want to do math. What you got?
No. Yeah, I want you to guess without doing the math. I actively don't want you to do the math. I'm just saying, because I mean, I'll tell you, I should have guessed before we did the numbers, but but I'll give you an honest
about
guess.
12 properties a player.
If you shut up, you definitely cheated.
How did I cheat?
Well, it's 11.6 repeating. Like, you cheated.
I didn't cheat.
I would have thought like 20 per player. But based on that, it's about 12 properties per player. So honestly, I'm not that far off.
Right.
So that's lower than I thought it would be already. So I feel confident saying. A question for Russell Envy. I like that, like, even like we just have awesome people like Russell chilling in chat. Like, Russell, oh my gosh. Let me ask Russell. I think he runs his own show. You should probably like and subscribe to it. But
absolutely.
I can appreciate not wanting to sit through a 3-hour tutorial for a 30-second mini game to be able to ask a question. So doing it on our show feels appropriate. I love Russell Envy, by the way. He's a legend in my mind.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Russell, the NFT architect would like to know how many hours a day you spend. And Big Stepper, I don't know if that was 130. It's an interesting guess. That's a lot.
Yeah. We're all over that at the same time. No,
yeah,
that's not a bad play, Poppy, because I'm telling you, Genesis next year, it's going to be the life token. That's the way it works. I'm still sticking with my Vegas prediction. Life token.
I think it makes sense. I think it's fair. I think that's completely fair to say that next year will be a token release. If they don't release it sooner, it's possible they release it sooner.
That is true.
Because I think we're starting to see some now that I think the majority of the summer convention tour is winding down. Now that the team's back, mostly from like any summer trips and vacations that they had, and things are starting to get back to normal. We're seeing the ramp up. I mean, holy cow! If you've been listening to any of the stuff I'm doing on UPX World, talking about we want to do these home meta phases, and I'm like, it's one of the core features, and I've been saying like it's based on this. It's based on this premise of being able to have a home property, and that home property is kind of a critical piece to it. And they released it. Like, this is awesome. Thanks, JT.
Thanks, JT.
So I think we're going to start seeing some ramp up in what they're releasing. And I mean, we saw the decor is now progressing. We have the factories. They're putting some stuff out at a pretty good clip right now. The FC legits and international release, it's
starting to roll.
It's starting to roll.
As we're going to start, I'd still like to see more building designs out there, more availability. So hopefully that's the next big function that they throw out, is the ability to have the people design different buildings to build.
Well, so here's what I'll say. I quite selfishly hope they don't, because that's more models we need to make in layer 2. I like the idea of having a very simplistic base of standard models. My dog is going nuts. Chill. Jeez. Jeez. I don't know if you can hear that. But I like the idea of having a core set of models, because the other thing is even not selfishly with the other stuff, but like a decor, right? So building decor, ornaments and things, the more different things that they do, it gets exponentially. Everything else you do is exponential after that. Right. And it's very likely that they only offer holiday decor or holiday ornaments for the standard sets.
So that's why you have a neighborhood that you want to ball out for the holidays, where you put your standard sets, and then you have your neighborhoods where you have the more fancy designs of the buildings.
Possibly. But I mean, I don't know, like Lily Corp inside of San Francisco is a fantastic structure.
Right.
Yeah. So I just go, I don't know if it's going to get Halloween decorations. And so,
yeah.
So here's the thing. And Architect is right. I guess, geez, Pete, I can't even, you're just spamming all the things. So Architect, I'm with Architect. So I'm view that layer 2 thing in the sense of like, I don't mind some city specific buildings, but keep in mind that puts a huge burden on all like ornament creation and everything. Like it just grows exponentially, and it's a lot to then manage all in layer 1. But when you talk about, okay, we have an apartment, we have the townhouse, a small townhouse, we have some other things like, and then you're talking layer 2. So when we talk about like what Architect is building specifically, and what a lot of the other artists in relationship to UPX World are building, are recreations of that model in a different style. So this way, layer 1 can remain more or less consistent with the same building structure, and then you kind of get an idea for what you're doing. It's more consistent, which I think is ultimately what you would want at your layer 1 metaverse. Like you want it to look consistent in style, and like you don't want it to be hodgepodge. That's why they didn't release a color wheel for the selections. Don't even get me started on the actual color selection.
But if you think about it, your typical big city neighborhoods that were developed in the 50s and the 60s with the smaller houses, brick style, the dimensions were pretty much the same. They might have different aesthetic features to it. And then, as you moved out to the suburbs, you have the different developments through the major cities and their suburbs. I'm looking for styles like that, that they're kind of common, but they have their little tweaks to it, but you should be able to fit the same style ornament over that. I'm not looking for drastic changes. Your financial districts, your downtowns. Yeah, you want those super cool skyscraper structures going on, but that's going to cost you so many spark hours, and it's going to be a collaboration to get those built. But just a bigger variety, but you want to keep it in the way that you can still put the ornaments over it, so you're just not left out in the cold.
Well, to me, that's just, then it's the same thing. You're just picking the style, which is ultimately what we're going to do in layer 2. But I would be happy to see some of that more come into layer 1 of like, I don't want, like you said, like it doesn't need to be 20 variations of townhome. Like keep the same townhome, but then give one like, that Santa Fe look or the whatever, the different style. Sure, you could do where it's almost again like a skin. When you're building it, you pick a color, you could pick a style, and then that would allow you to scale things like the decorations that would go over, assuming. But then it might like default to the style. I don't know. I think it's going to. I don't know. We'll see. I just know what we're planning on layer 2. I mean, it's fine. The more things that they release in layer 1, it's more variety for layer 2. But I know that we are planning a lot of reskinning and kind of theming and styling of those buildings in general. Micro houses are going to explode, and it will be great. Oh yeah. Are you talking layer 2? Yes.
I can't wait. No, the micro houses that they just announced, that you can build them on 5-up square properties now. They have 2 models out.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What the hell is a micro house? What?
A micro house, it's a living unit of 1. Size is 5-up square. Dimensions is 5 meters wide by 9 meters long. Minimum spark to begin is 0.05. Max sparks 24. And the spark hours to build is 500. I can't wait for you to be able to put multiple things on a property, because people are going to put like a bajillion micro houses on a huge property.
How did I miss? See,
it was in the community governance update. You just didn't scroll far enough down. You saw home address. You saw the home address. You got all happy. You ran to Alamo Square. You typed it in. You got your little profile pic. You're like, check it out. My turtle, Alamo Square. What?
Yeah. 100%. That's what I did.
And then you didn't scroll down.
I didn't scroll down. I was too excited. And then I saw the thing about like making your profile pic, and I went and updated my Upland server profile. And
yeah,
microhouses are for Chicago, I feel like.
Microhouses are for a lot of places, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely, and I would imagine also like Rio. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, this is a slumlord's dream.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of slumlording.
I mean, you rent it out for 1,000 UPX a month. I don't know. 10,000 UPX a month for a micro house. I don't know.
No, what? Get out of here. Yeah, the micro houses be everywhere in Rio. I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to put a micro house on a plot like if it's bigger than 30 up square or something. If like any other house can fit on it, you should not be allowed to build a micro house on it. That's my opinion.
I want to find a property where I have 600 micro houses on it.
I mean,
it's the trailer park that you always wanted that they had to convert to cell towers. Come on now.
No, I like that for different reasons. I wish I would have read about this beforehand because I don't feel like I'm going to take this very well because I'm like my gaming like instincts are very triggered right now, and like the gamification aspect is my
so why are you triggered right now, Snowflake?
I'm not triggered in a sense. I'm just like I'm immediately like, well, how much and like now I'm like also I'm like, well, what can I add freckles to Bones Balboa?
Ooh.
But and like also like I need to go look at it from what can I start now doing for micro designs? That could be kind of cool. But the idea of these plots being full of these tiny houses just to maximize rentable space, like renting Spark has gone up 50% already.
I'm gonna go check right now.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, some houses say I know. I don't remember. I know that there was some controversy over that. I don't know what that was though. Yeah. So they won't fit. Yeah, no, I know. I don't. Yeah, because the thing is, like, well, then why would I build like? It's all right. I trust. You know what? I trust the Upland team to not allow multiple micro houses on a single property. Like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
architect, it's okay, man. We'll do one for UPX World. Don't even worry about it, bro. I want gumdrops. I want to convert all my micro houses into gum. Oh, you know what? Like,
there you go.
I have very mixed feelings on like this is why I need time to process things, and I've been trying not to be surprised on stream because I don't have a reaction filter, and so I immediately just all of my you get to go on that ride.
Thanks, Cake.
Dude, it's very true. Like it's amazing. It's like it's a thanks for coming to my TED Talk kind of thing.
Well, that works.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to trust that the Upland team would prevent multiple microhouses from being built on a single property because that would fundamentally collapse because it's not the same. Like, that's the thing. It's like people have to, the gumdrop house, dude, we're making that. We're making gumdrop house because I already want a Candyland style metaphase with all the structures made. Like, anyway, gingerbread houses and whatnot. it will be because the thing people have to remember is while there's a lot of parallels to real life, there are a lot of non-parallels to real life. So, for instance, when we talk about creating a quote unquote slum place of like having lots of or just like a really condensed population, specifically in tiny houses, right? Like that sounds like the dimensions of a porta potty, first of all.
I mean, but Rio, you have a lot of shanty towns to it with the properties there. So yeah.
No. I don't have a problem with the concept of a tiny house if it's limited to one per property and maybe properties under 30 up square, like, or whatever. Like if there's certain parameters that need to be met to qualify for a tiny house.
But this is a decentralized metaverse where you can build what you want to build and create your biggest fantasies here in the
Do you want to do the rest of this podcast by yourself today? Is that what you're trying to do? Uh-huh. Because that's what's about to happen. No, like, oh boy. Yeah. Anyway.
No, continue. Sorry.
That swing. You tilted me. You full tilted me. You read the disclaimer. You got me tilted. Congratulations. You win.
It's not about winning.
It's always about winning. So I guess, I mean, that's kind of cool. I worry because especially if it's 500 UPX or 500 spark hours. How many is an apartment? 3,600. I have a cheat sheet on my phone.
I don't have my cheat sheet up, so I had it up.
Hold on, let me get. I have one saved here. Let's see here. An apartment is 5,800. Yeah. So you'd have to build. You could build 11. Thank you, Wikipedia. You could build 11 tiny homes.
Yes.
And still have spark hours left compared to an apartment. And then you would have 11 living units as compared to 8. And you could build it, in theory, all of them with enough spark in like 30 minutes, as opposed to, not really. I think your max, you could do 24 spark on it. Like that's like what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is more than a townhouse, which costs over 5 times the amount. Like a small townhouse, which is still twice the amount almost, has a max spark of 10. So you're able to do it in, well, I guess it's probably one day. Be less than one day. Well, hold on.
240.
Jeez,
yeah, it's less than one day.
500 divided by 24 is your number. 20 hours. So 20, you could build one of these maxed at 21 hours. So in theory, you could build 11 of them if you maxed all of them out in 21 hours and have more living space than if you spent 16 days max building an apartment. Like, so from an economy and gamification perspective, in the event that they do allow multiple building structures on a single property,
I see where you're going. Yep.
Because then there's no value, there's no reason to build other things. And again, I can't imagine that they're going to give minus neighborhood points for it. So that also means that there's going to be some amount of neighborhood points for those houses. I don't know. I understand the need. I just hope that they appreciate with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. And you know, honestly, I joke that I want to put so many mini houses on one property and make it my mini trailer park, you know, but it would depress the neighborhood, and it's definitely going to happen. Oh, why? Yeah. Because, you know, ultimately we're supposed to be able to go into our homes and be able to put things into our homes or put things into our buildings. So you don't have that much room in these mini homes. So it's going to be for the players that just want a place to, it's like the Airbnb, the shitty Airbnb. Oh man, I dropped a bad word on the podcast. That's been a long time since I did that.
Yeah, good job.
But yeah, it's just, it's going to be the temporary rentals or the people
here's the thing though. In your scenario, there's downside to it, right? Because it does depress the neighborhood, because it isn't something that's livable, that people want more than that. But in a digital space, okay, the impact is very minimal because you're able to achieve what you want. And so and there's no overhead, right? So if you're a landlord of all of these micro houses in real life, if you were to buy a plot of land and build a bunch of tiny homes and shove real people in them, you have to deal with all of the plumbing, electricity, maintenance of all of these things, right? So there's distinct advantages of owning an apartment complex or whatever versus just building a bunch of tiny little shacks and trying to rent them out. Yeah.
Actually, Russell, he's got 442.65 sparks. So you're a little behind the times there.
I'm not even going to ask.
He had 440 after the last spark week. We talked about that.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. So that's so insane. How many micro houses could he build? So anyway, my point is that in real life, there's a lot of downside and consequences and overhead. In the digital space, there isn't. And so people are going to do it because it's easy money, right? What do they care if it, imagine and the thing is they're so small that any property could be theoretically infested with them, right? Make them
right.
Cute shacks. I mean, I get it.
So you're saying that these micro houses are worse than the trailers?
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know, man. We're both from the Midwest, bro. You can't hate on trailer parks because we got cousins in trailer parks. Don't act like you don't.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. We've done well for ourselves.
Second cousin? You know somebody in a trailer park. Don't be.
I know people in trailer parks.
All right. Well, then there you go. You ain't no Hollywood folk. Be like, I only see the trailer parks on the movies. Possibly one property gets equivalent to one vote, making a property with tenants a micro vote. Yeah, I mean, those are all things that need to be worked out and balanced. I mean, one house per property. It's a 10-story tiny house.
That's even better.
Yes. I don't think. Nice. I don't think it's going to be one house per property because that's the whole benefit of renting is then you rent out a property so that way it can be your home. And if for instance,
right.
How are you going to tell an apartment renter that they can't have their home there? Now I do like the idea of only one property being able to be designated for residential on a plot of land. See, and this is, and I really hope that these, and I don't want to get too philosophical because we are at the end of our hour. But I will just say this. This is exactly why I don't like the decentralization of the gamification aspects. I know that they want to make this real life, and I know, empowering delegates. I'm weary of what they're going to let people decide on because I think it, I guess we'll see. It's all a huge experiment. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now, what I was trying to get at is you can set your own address now.
Yeah.
And which is exciting. They've been promising that for a very long time. Oh, if you go to UPX Spark Exchange, microhouse, 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 small factory, large apartment, small house, microhouse, 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 small factory, small factory, small factory. That's the top people asking for Spark right now.
Oh, fam.
So, but yes, now we're excited because it all started, way back in the day. Choina started out with the concept of having a neighborhood as a community, and you build around it and have events there. And then, Upland's like, hey, you're going to be able to have a home address. And finally it's here. So you can have one home address. And as you were saying earlier in the show, you can't sit there and cheerlead and say, I'm down with you. You can definitely help out other neighborhoods, but now it's time to stake your claim. You can't stake your claim in 4 or 5 neighborhoods or nodes or whatever. So it's time to represent.
It is. Hey, there you go. Treasure hunter extraordinaire claiming his flag for Portage Park.
Yeah. And
I don't know, bro. I love Alamo Square, but I'm feeling kind of FOMO for Portage, bro.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Some of the other neighborhoods, you have a lot more property owners than you have on some of these smaller neighborhoods. So they're definitely going to win this home address leaderboard challenge.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going over and see what I got in the Porky Park.
Yeah. Now, surprisingly, in the top 20, you have 6 Los Angeles neighborhoods.
Does that surprise me?
4 Chicago neighborhoods, 2 San Francisco neighborhoods. So it's the Genesis City where everybody's like, can't wait for this to come out, and only 2 in the top 20.
Yeah, but I think the San Francisco neighborhoods are the ones that are like nodes are smaller.
Well, like Outer Sunset and Midtown Terrace.
I mean, Midtown Terrace isn't huge.
No, but Outer Sunset is.
Outer Sunset is huge for sure. That's the other one that's hit it. How many do they have?
Right now 13.
Oh, that's not a lot. That's a very, very small amount. What's the total? Like, how many people have set home addresses?
There's 394 neighborhoods right now. They don't have a total but Portage Park is leading with 56, and the next one is Hollywood with 29, and then Century City at 26. Then it drops under 20. And by the time you hit number 16 for San Pedro is 10, and then Avalon Park in Chicago has 9, and that's number 17 overall. So
what about Alamo Square? How many does Alamo Square got?
Alamo Square has 6.
Get it.
And I want to do a video on how to select your home address. So it will be 7 once I get that recorded.
Heck yeah. Well, I know somebody else. I got one coming for sure. That'll come over. Yeah. I wish I would. I got rid of most of my like extra properties. So we'll see. We'll see who comes over. Again, it's only been it hasn't been a lot of time, and like no one would. It's not like people were planning it, right? Like again, huge kudos to Portage Park coming out strong, right? Like that shows the kind of dedication and like the number of people that are there. That to get 60 people to set their home address to Portage Park within 12 hours of opening is honestly pretty impressive. Yeah. So that's super cool. And I didn't realize that you needed KYC.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. I like
KYC.
Yeah.
Factories can't be your home address. And that's okay. You know, just like real life, after a while in the neighborhood.
All of you factory makers, stop it. You can't live in your factory. There's going to be limited manufacturing for quite some time. Go make mini houses if you have to. Just stop building your factories. It's a waste of spark and it's a waste of land.
Yeah. Now, the nice thing is you can change your home address as many times as you want. So if you're bored with the neighborhood, you can move on. If it's not developing like, you can move on. But after you do, there's a 24-hour cooldown period before you can change again. And here's the thing. So you can't sabotage a community with any kind of votes if they start addressing votes for the neighborhood or this or not that, you know. It's a 30-day cooldown, so you can't go jump in to sabotage a vote and then jump back out.
Yeah, I mean, that's smart. I like that because it also prevents people from trying to that just prevents a lot of things.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that that's fair. I wouldn't mind there even being a longer cooldown than that, probably, but I don't know. I think 30 days is probably a great starting point to just get an idea for it.
Yeah, it's a good starting point, I think. So excited for it, and I'll set my address here soon. Just kind of sad that Alamo Square is one of the smaller neighborhoods in the game, but still love my Alamo Square.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out from a collection perspective. And I think that the layout of Alamo Square is quite unique. And now, I'm not saying that I am saying this, but
I'm not saying that I'm saying this.
I'm not saying that I'm saying this, okay? Let's be very clear. I'm not saying that I'm saying this.
You got to give us some sign language.
But there was several asks to have a Monopoly style game in layer 2
around now, Alamo Square. That's awesome. It's perfect.
I don't know if you've seen, what a Monopoly board looks like, and I don't know if you've seen what Alamo Square as a neighborhood looks like. And I'm not saying that it would be a ridiculous missed opportunity to not overlay it. And oh, by the way, are the painted ladies right where Boardwalk and Park Place should be?
Depends on how you have your board, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who doesn't have their board? If you're looking at the board, that's in the corner. It's right back by Go.
They're kind of in the middle, They're not really close by Go. But yeah, closer. I'll buy it in for the story. I'm good with it. Yeah,
for the point of the story, yes. Technically, they're probably between the end of the green in Railroad and Park Place.
Start. Yeah.
But or that damn
the chance. No. The chance and the income tax.
The income tax, yeah.
Yeah.
Worst. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I definitely see I'm not saying that I'm saying it though. That's all I'm saying.
You're not saying that you're saying it.
I'm not saying that I'm saying it. Not financial advice. Do not go buy the floor of Alamo Square because, whatever. Queens is the new thing. I don't think Queens is necessarily new thing. I think Queens is just a thing. Maze, you've done a fantastic job rallying that city. When we talk about cities with active participation,
absolutely,
you can't leave Queens out of that conversation anymore because of what you and your team are doing. So, kudos to you. I cannot wait to see it. Are there any Queens neighborhoods on that list?
5
on the top. What?
20. Oh, sorry, I scrolled. Hold on, let me scroll back up. 1, 2, 3. 3 in the top 20.
Hey, that's 3 in the top 20 is not bad. How many Manhattan?
Manhattan has none.
Okay, fam, hear me out. Manhattan has 0. There's a reason for that. That's all I'm saying. Not financial advice. Do your own research. That should tell you something.
And Sherwood Forest in Detroit sitting at number 5.
Get out, Sherwood, get it, bro.
Absolutely.
Get it. Detroit represent.
And
Sherwood represent.
I don't know if you know much about that Sherwood Forest node, but they have some merch, and a lot of the sales, I think half the sales goes to autism charities. So they got some real cool stuff going on there in Sherwood Forest too. So
shout out to Sherwood Forest.
Yeah.
Oh, he so hates to mention Howard Beach.
Oh, okay. Howard Beach is number 4 in Queens. There you go. Yeah. I wasn't going to hate to mention that. Everybody poo-poos on Detroit. So I was just trying
to. Yeah. But again, I want to call out the Wood Hood.
Yeah, that's what Sherwood's called. It's the Wood Hood.
No. They call it the Wood Hood.
We'll get the guy on here. We'll get the founder on here.
No, dude, because architect, hear me out. If you're a fan of the Wood Hood, 100% we need to make a wood metaphase. We need to get a wooden version of all of the baseline buildings. Maybe with, dude, I've seen your designs with, the like living buildings, but like, let's make it full wood, like wood buildings. And then that's it. And we'll have a Wood Hood metaphase. And you know what? If they're doing an autism thing, like that's it. We'll sell the Wood Hood theme, which is a wooden theme of all of the Upland buildings, as an in-app purchase, and half of the profits will match that, go to the autism. Like, let's do it. Architect, if you know what's that's about, like let's partner with them. Let's get them.
I'll reach out to the node founder. So we'll look it up here on a show coming up here. We'll get him on. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a lot of good stuff too with analytics. It's pretty awesome. He's a solid guy.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
Me and architect are going to the lab, and by me and architect, I mean architect. Amazing stuff. Anyway.
Yep, that's the YouTube channel, and Mr. Henry is the lead of that.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's awesome.
I've been meaning to reach out, get him on the show anyway before that, but yeah, we'll definitely make that happen here soon.
Let's do it. Well, I'm not going to put that up.
Yeah. Well, he says it in his video, his name.
Okay.
Yeah, he says he introduces himself as John Henry, so it's not like it's a secret.
Okay. Wood Hood. Wolf Warner.
Warner, he's big in Wood Hood too. Man, Wood Hood's taking over the show.
Dude, I love it. No, if you guys didn't hear, like, confirmed. UPX World, Architect is going to make it happen. We're going to build a Wood Hood exclusive wooden building theme for Wood Hood. We'll have their own dedicated metaphase, which is an instance where you'll be able to go and see essentially the entire neighborhood in wood. Maybe we'll do some special events, some charity auctions, stuff like that. And then because we're all about decentralized revenue streams, that will be an in-app purchase where you can purchase the wood theme for your own personal buildings or your other neighborhoods that you want to represent the theme. And we'll look to work with the same charities and make sure that they get put in the loop. I'm excited. I think like that has huge potential.
Yeah, and here we go. Let's go. What do you think their floor is to get into their node?
Oh, wow. That's a dangerous question. I feel like that's like a lady asking, how old do you think I am? Because you're like, dude, I don't want to undershoot this and be disrespectful, but I don't want to overshoot it and be disrespectful either. So then you got to pick a neutral number. We'll say a good neutral number for a lady is, I feel like every lady
500 and
what?
There's 514 total properties in Sherwood.
514. That seems like a small amount.
Yeah.
That's not a huge amount of properties.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 15,000.
74,000.
What?
Yep.
Jeez.
500% floor markup for UPX.
Get it, Woodhood. Hold on, now I'm curious. Dude, do I own any Sherwood?
$54 US floor, and that's 514% markup. The Woodhood's strong, bro.
Dude, and that's in where?
Detroit.
Oh, never mind. I definitely don't own any. I don't own anything in Detroit. Like, I'm not even being rude. I just don't own like anything. Where am I looking at? Dude, there's Russell Woods. Russell, what are you doing wherever you're at? Why are you not in Russell Woods? If I had a neighborhood named after me, I'd be living there. Winship. Where am I looking?
Oh, hey, here we go. You remember TJ Miami was on last night about the Evergreen Lashers? They want to wrap hip-hop metaphase. The orders are coming in, my friend.
Oh, dude, no, we're definitely, we're going to have, like, if you want to do, like, a hip-hop theme, like, graffitied out buildings, cool stuff like that, like, I would love to do a hip-hop metaphase with your neighborhood, and then you could you do live music listenings, and in fact, we didn't talk about it a lot, but, like, we're going to be doing a whole music thing where, like in Grand Theft Auto, how you like listen to the radio stations. So we'll have that, but then players will actually be able to then purchase those songs as an in-app purchase just to listen wherever they want, whenever they want, or say if they had a karaoke machine at their home. And so the artist will own the actual NFT underneath it. And then every time the in-app purchase is made, you'll get a cut of it. So you're owning the NFT is like owning the actual rights to that single, and then you'll get perpetual income. And the buyers in the game, they don't get an NFT copy. They just get the rights to play that song in other parts of the game, or like I said, like at a jukebox at an event or something. We'll do, live music and album launches, and dude, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking of new music, come the 25th, we're going to have a new theme song. Mars Utah will be on. He's got a banging beat.
I'm so excited for that.
He has a banging beat for it. I'm super pumped.
I'm so excited. Also, you never told me where Sherwood. So I'm in Detroit. I'm looking for it. Where's...
I don't have the map open. Let's talk about the real city expansion while you try to find Sherwood so we can get out of here for the week because we're pushing an hour and a half. They released about 20,000 more properties in Rio. The multi-device thing is getting kind of crazy. People are going to have their computer, their laptop, their phone, their tablet. It's all open, and they're just going to town, just mint. And it's making it not as fun right now. So hopefully they can address this it's not even multi-account, it's multi-device going on now and multi-tabbing going on.
Wait, Sherwood? It's not even minted out.
Yeah, it is.
Then it's not Sherwood in
Shorewood Forest.
Oh, there's a Sherwood Forest. There's also a Sherwood.
Right.
Oh, so it's a more specific thing. All right, so not to be confused with just Sherwood. All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so the multi-tab, multi-device, it's kind of getting out of control.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like do you play on your phone and your whatever at the same time?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay. Me neither.
But yeah, they did have 13 they had 13 neighborhoods that had properties open up in it, sold out. A lot of users were not happy with the minting experience this time around. A lot of complaints circled around the multi-device, multi-tabs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could understand that.
Now, they did make the travel free down there once again.
I saw that. Multi-accounts and multi-tabbing is the only way to play this game, and you need a gaming PC ability to edit code or you don't have a chance. Jeez, Russell, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
He's not the only one that voices this concern right here. You know, we've known a while for the people that were just forcing the transactions right to the blockchain itself without even going through Upland. And yeah, I don't know how heavy the multi accounts were in this launch, but at least the multi tabs, multi devices.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I get it. But honestly, like I'm still searching. I'm terrible at this.
Central, north, and Detroit. So go to the middle and go north.
And what's it next? What's the thing you said it's next to? Palmer Woods.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like some really they just like straight up like have one area called like community. Yeah. Like community nice neighborhood, one like pride community.
Yeah, right below Green Acres.
Green Acres is the place to be.
No, but legit, if you don't pay attention to your Twitter, which you probably don't there, thank me later. Russell's very big into calling out multi-accounters and multi-tabbers. And
oh, no, I know. Yeah, his pursuit on that is valiant, honestly. I just, I'll have to find it. I don't really own anything in Detroit, so I'm almost sure I don't own any in that magnificent Providence. So, but I like the We Care community. Like, what? That's a sweet neighborhood. How is there not a node in the We Care community?
I don't know.
That's literally the name of the neighborhood.
All right. So what else you got for us this week before we get out of here?
What else do I have? First, I don't think multi-tab is that big of a deal. I mean, people got hurt maybe at this launch, but there's 400,000 properties. Over half of them are in a tier 1 LA city. Like, I get it. Everybody wants the new, latest, greatest, shiny thing. But if I'm being honest, I don't see that being nearly an issue for property minting. But anyway, I also don't participate as much in them, so I don't have nearly as time. Hey, there we go.
There you go. Upland, Brazil. How we doing?
What up? Do I have anything else? Yes. So if you aren't already a Xlander and part of the fantastic and ever-growing UPX World community, please check that out. Also on Twitch, UPX World Live. We stream 6 days a week on that channel. So there's always content, and I'm going to announce it exclusively here. It has not been posted anywhere, but I am planning on doing a live development stream tomorrow after we have a weekly recap at 5 p.m. Central from 5 to 6. And then I'm planning on doing potentially some live development in Unity if I can get a starting instance or something else going for tomorrow as a VIX, what up? Architect in the house. And so we'll be doing that live tomorrow, maybe for a couple hours. And also this weekend, I'll probably try and do some live just dev streams of stuff that we're building whenever I can. And so the multi-tab thing, that just means like you have, so as you're exploring, right? And so you have all your greens and you just go like buy. And then while you're waiting for that to process, you just go to the next tab. But instead of waiting for it to refresh, you can just like hit multiple tabs. Or like you can do that and then send and then that way, anyway, that's all multi-tabbing is. It's just like you can be more efficient. But again, if you need to mint that, I get it. Like, and I shouldn't downplay it because it is like a lot of people like if that's your gameplay, that would be very, very difficult. Like if that's how you generate income, if that's the play aspect that you really like is minting during a new city release, then I could certainly appreciate that. Multi-tabbers or abusers of the system that
I mean, that's huge because especially if you've identified an area that's going to be hot, that could potentially be a rare and ultra rare area, or, you just want to own the block, you have multi-device or multi-tab open, and it's just round robin, buy. And, or you just push the code right to the blockchain. So,
well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different issue. But I mean, I'm not going to lie. I almost always have my phone. Oh,
showing your girl.
No one saw it.
They're pausing video now and checking it out.
That's what I thought. I saw her beautiful face and I got distracted. Is what we're talking about?
Just strategy.
Yeah. So I have my phone and but I don't use it for more efficiency. It's just like if one of my things freezes up, and that's just standard. Like I will have, like, if I was buying tickets for Comic-Con and you're getting in line, right? You open all the tabs. 4 monitors, 3 laptops, dual keyboards, a couple of phones, it'll be fine. I mean, that's you're welcome. So, I mean, to me, like, that's not, I mean, multi-tab is not the issue. That's honestly, Russell, I would go like, that's that's to me no different than, well, did you close out all your tabs? Do you have your phone just optimized, and is it cooled to the exact temperature? And do you have like the right everything? Like, to me, that's just a strategy. There is nothing wrong. You are not multi-accounting if you're on a single account. If you have a system that allows you to do that without, to me, that's not cheating. Multi-tabbing is not necessarily cheating, but I don't use it to do that like aggressively. Sends malfunctioned, send a few mint out collection during. Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the crazy thing though, because the real launch was like, everybody was so happy with the first real launch that it was so great, and then all of a sudden it took steps back. I'd be interested to see the numbers behind it. They set records last time with transactions per second on the blockchain at 54. I mean, how high was the demand? What was the seconds minting per second? What was the demand? It'd be interesting to see.
It had to be less, right? But I guess it's sold out, eh? Because it was.
But the collections were revealed, and you were able to mint collections that were revealed.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think the multi-tab thing, like, yeah. If you're going to that's not like, that's just using your resources. Now, if you were writing the code, and essentially cheating, that's cheating, right? To me, that's a big difference. Like, you are doing something that isn't readily available to the general community. Like, I got 8 before people could send. I had a tail, not my fault. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, honestly, in like that, there is a bit of luck, right? And so if you don't know what Maze is talking about, your tail is, your block explorer drifts. And I mean, we saw this with the second release of LA, like Mulholland Drive. Like, if you were floating towards and trying to get the Mulholland Drive, I mean, it's the same story as that. So I guess I get it. And it was certainly frustrating in that moment. Yeah.
That's cheating right there.
That is cheating. Like, that's a breach. Too much competition. Yeah. I do like the guessing part. I think like that's kind of fun. But yeah.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, UPX World, cool stuff there. I guess that's it.
Yeah, definitely going to have to chop this video up. Nobody's going to sit there. Our watch times will go to watch time of 15 minutes. Yeah, you suck. So I'll chop.
Like, when I do an export from Twitch, it's like, do you want to break this up into 15-minute increments? And it'll just like cut it up into 15-minute increments, and then post it onto your YouTube.
That's nice.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, all right, everybody be safe. Have fun. Thank you guys for and ladies and everybody else, whatever your identifiers are. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Be safe. And we'll see you in the metaverse.
It's the UPX Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, thank me later, and you're stupid to win. Might be coming up session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your UPX, man. On your way, and the door hit you with $4,000. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping, over to moving and shucking. I'm Scrooge McDuckin' in UPX.